Hello friends, and it's Max Digital here, and this is where we compare flagships and budget phones and everything in between, apart from other technology. But in this video we're going to take a look at the LG Harmony 4, a phone from Cricket Wireless. This phone is prepaid. There's a lot of things to like about this phone, and there's some things that could be better. So let's take a deep dive and take a look further at the LG Harmony 4 from Cricket. So this phone, price-wise, is currently free if you port in your number, but if you don't bring in your number, it's not that expensive to begin with. So for most people, this should be an easy buy for free when you port in your number. This phone is going to be kind of an exclusive to Cricket, but there's a lot of LG phones available through various different names and a lot of LG prepaid devices across Cricket, Metro, Boost, just to name a few. So let's get in and talk more about this device. Although this phone is budget, the material is actually way better than most budget phones out there. This has a metal material on the outside, so this phone is going to feel real good in your hand. It's not going to feel as premium as a flagship, but it's definitely going to stand out by having a metal body around it, so it should feel really good in your hand. For the overall size of this device, the LG Harmony 4 is 6.1 inches tall, 2.9 inches wide, and 0.34 inches thin. The LG Harmony 4 is an LTE device. It does not have 5G. That's becoming more and more popular, but that's okay. Having 4G LTE will still connect you to all your favorite apps, video streaming, YouTube, WhatsApp, Telegram, Twitter, browsing the web, email, GPS. That's all going to work fine on LTE. If you do have 5G in your area, it might not be as wide of an area as they promise on a map, but so LTE is everywhere, and that should be sufficient for the things you're going to do on this device, no problem. So for the display, you're getting a 6.1 inch 720 HD screen. Resolution is 720 by 1560 pixels, which give you PPI of 282. What does all that stuff mean? It just means that this is an average screen. If you compare it to a flagship, it will not look good, but to the average user at this price point, it should be definitely okay. So for the software, we're rocking Android 10 with LG Skin on top. And I personally really like LG Skin. It has a few features that are unique to LG, such as the knock-on feature where you double or triple tap the screen so it'll turn it on and off. This will be very helpful if this phone's sitting on a table and you don't have to reach for it to, you have to lift it to unlock the device. So that's something pretty cool about LG in general. Another thing is this phone has Android 10 when that came with the phone, and it will not be more than likely updated past Android 10, but that's okay as long as all the apps work. It doesn't matter if it's running 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All your apps should work fine. The LG Harmony 4 is also working with a Mediatek chip, a Helio P35. What does that mean? That means that this is an average or below average processor, but thankfully it's going to run all the apps that you need to run. It's not a well-known like Snapdragon. It's definitely not a flagship chipset, but it will definitely work for all the typical apps people use at this price point. So don't worry about that chip. Next, let's move on to internal storage, and this one has 32 gigs of internal storage. Now that is probably the bare minimum that somebody could use in a phone. I prefer at least 64, and the norm is becoming 128 gigs. So 32 is pretty low, but luckily this phone, unlike other more expensive devices, this has a micro SD card slot, so you could expand that storage infinitely. You could spend $20 on Amazon and get a 128 SD card, and that'll more than enough help you out if you need storage for apps, store your movies, your music, stuff like that. So storage is pretty good when you consider it has micro SD card slot. For the RAM, this phone has a good amount of RAM, 3 gigs for a budget device. Now that should probably be the minimum a phone should have, is 3 gigs of RAM, and this phone has it. Anything else is just a little bit extra. Flagships could go 8 or 12 gigs of RAM. Typically now phones in the mid-range should have around at least 6 gigs of RAM. But with 3 gigs, don't be fooled. You don't need that much RAM unless you're running a million apps. This phone should be fine. So the phone has a camera setup on the back as a dual camera setup. Has a 13 megapixel main shooter with a 5 megapixel wide angle lens. Video tops out at 1080p video, but that's okay. I don't think most people take advantage of 4K video. So the camera setup is pretty good because apart from the main lens, the wide angle lens is probably the one to me that matters the most. And if you're like most people, you'll be fine with this camera's photos and videos. If you're in the right light, this should be perfectly okay to upload a video to social media or to send a video to your friends. For the selfie camera, we're rocking an 8 megapixel shooter, and you're able to record at 1080p. So those front camera pictures and videos should be pretty good enough for most people. The benefit of being a budget device as well is that most budget devices have a headphone jack, and this one has it. If you haven't fully embraced wireless, Bluetooth, like for headphones, then you'll be glad to hear that this one you could hook up your physical headphones. You could hook it up to your car via an aux cord or a microphone. So it has all the bases covered. A little bit of a bonus for a budget device. And if you are like me and you do embrace wireless devices, this phone has the Bluetooth to cover you, so you can pair your wireless headphones and your smartwatch. So those are two biggest things that to me are very important to hook up to your phone, and this one will do a good job of that. Or if you want to hook up some speakers to it as well, there's a lot of things that you can hook up with Bluetooth, but your wireless headphones and your smartwatch to me are the two most common things that I use. You also got your standard charging port with a USB-C port, and this is very versatile because you could use the same charger from your Chromebook, your MacBook, your Windows PC, just to name a few. So it's a very versatile port. And you can use that same USB Type-C port to charge the battery, which includes a 3,500 milliamp battery. So not the biggest battery on the block, but that one should be able to barely last you all day. You might have to reach for a charging for a charger towards the end of the day. But all in all, it's not the smallest battery I've seen in even more expensive devices. And to unlock this device, the LG Harmony 4 has a rear fingerprint sensor, which is perfectly fine, perfectly normal. It's a fast way of unlocking your device. Nothing fancy like the Samsung Galaxy S21 where you has a under the display fingerprint reader. It doesn't have a side fingerprint reader or some type of Face ID like the iPhone. This is just a regular way, very reliable way to unlock your phone. So in conclusion, what things stand out to me on this phone that set it apart from other devices? Well, I do like the fact that it has a metal casing to it. This is going to feel more premium than the price suggests of being free or $100 if you go to Cricket. Another thing that I like is that it has a micro SD card slot, it has a headphone jack. 3 gigs of RAM is more than enough for most people. You should have no problem running all your apps. The extra wide camera on the back is a nice touch, but it does have some downsides. Things that I don't like about it are that it only has 32 gigs of storage, but although you could spend a little bit more money for the SD card, and the battery could be bigger. It's 3,500. I think most phones should be starting at 4,000. That's the bare minimum nowadays for battery life. And also the screen is only 720p on this. Not too much of a big deal, but I wish it could be at least 1080p. So saying all that stuff, this is a very solid phone from Cricket. I haven't seen a lot of videos on any reviews on this phone, so this is just something I wanted to talk about because this phone did kind of stand out to me, and I really like LG devices. So thanks guys for watching. If you liked the video, you know what to do. See you in the next one. Peace.